Whether in stress, doubt, or tears, just give thanks and bless your fears. Be sure to remember, love reveals the truth of life, and joy, yes, joy, joy is the angel's voice. Acceptance breeds harmony, and forgiveness is what sets us free. I let my good become multiplied as the divine unfolds in my life. Yes, it is good. It is God, this miracle divine. Oh, yes. It's a miracle I now let all the good that I possess become multiplied as divine love acts upon my faith, bringing into my experience all that is necessary for my and our well-being. Yes, it is good. Yes, it is God. Whether in stress, doubt, or tears, just give thanks and bless your fears. Be sure to remember, love reveals the truth of life, and joy, yes, joy, joy is the angel's voice. Acceptance breeds harmony, and forgiveness is what sets us free. I let my good become multiplied as the divine. It unfolds in my life. Yes, it is good. It is God, and it's a miracle divine. Oh, yeah, yes, yes, it's a miracle divine. It's a miracle divine, divine, divine. It's a miracle
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is a miracle indeed. Let's hear it for the Music Collective of Heart and Soul Center of Light. Takia, thank you. Thank you. Wow, we made it through another year. Who knew what more in 24 would really mean? but we did it. We did it. And I am filled with gratitude as I come to this pulpit today. I am filled with gratitude for all of the gifts and the things that were made manifest this year that I had no idea on January 1st, 2024 would manifest. Am I the only one? Are you surprised? It was like this was certainly that year where we could have all enacted that scene from All About Eve when Betty Davis goes up that steps and says, "Buckle your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride." But we made it. We made it through. And I know that if you haven't completed your holiday shopping yet, there is an opportunity to find a wonderful book called From the Inside Out by the Reverend Dr. Andrea Earl that is waiting for you at Marcus Books to be picked up, or wherever you pick up your favorite books, whether that be online or not. But if you're waiting for a gift that is going to change somebody's life, this is the book. And when I talk about gratitude, what I want you to know that sometimes in life, we are called to be a witness. That's all we're there for. We don't have to do anything but be a witness. This book contains over 12 years of essays and writings and columns, plus 29 different stories about Black history. And what I know is I had the gift of being the witness to when most of those stories were written. I got the phone call. "What do you think about this? What if I said that? Do you want to hear it? Can I just read it to you one more time before I send it out into the world?" It changed my life to be a witness to that storytelling. And now, to see it in one volume, wow. So, this is what I am most grateful for in 2024, is this exists, and that I wanted to share that with you. And one of the other things that I would want you to know is I can't wait to hear what today's talk is. Because one of the things that happens, especially in my life now, because I have spent this time being a witness to the unfolding of this book, and because I have been a witness to the unfolding this idea of being an ally, an advocate, and a co-conspirator, using the foundation of this faith, this philosophy, this way of living for us, I finally feel after 70 years, I have a message. I have a story to tell. It's all coming together. I just didn't know all the stories were going to come together at once. Spirit is saying, "Oh, tell them about this. Tell them about that. Oh, and then also tell them about this." How can I do all that in one day? But I'm going to give it a try. And I want to tie some things together because, like I said, I can't wait to see how this all unfolds today. But I want you to know that if you choose to be inspired, you will be. If there is a nugget in something that I say today, or something that Takia sings today, or anything else, you will claim it as your own. That is the light that's flickering right now. We are aligned with our fellow travelers in this spiritual journey that are celebrating Advent today. And for many of us that was raised up in the traditional church, this is the fourth Sunday of Advent. This Sunday is dedicated to the understanding of anticipation. Anticipation of the miracle that is about to come forth. we can dwell in that for a moment. We can dwell in this understanding of anticipation, anticipating the opportunity to be an ally, an advocate, or a co-conspirator for someone else in our life. Now, if you also, and Mitchell, this is your cue to kind of get ready. I want to take you back. Like I like to play music to get inspired. And so I'm going to ask that you close your eyes for just a moment, and I'm going to take you back to a time when there was a little something that might have played in your childhood.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hallelujah, this little light of
Did that take you someplace? Did that trigger a little memory of maybe when you were in a Sunday school class and you had this opportunity to maybe sing that song for the first time, and they were getting you ready for that little Christmas concert or that other special event at your church, and you were the little one there saying, now you're going to sing, "You Are the Light," and you're going to light that little light of yours, and you're going to show it to the world. I remember it. I remember it from when I was 5, growing up at the Main Street Christian Church in Winchester, Indiana. And our teacher, see, now this was one of the unique things about the church, in church in that day. Little ones, well, they just might be too disruptive to be in the sanctuary. So they built us our own little sanctuary where we could be just as noisy as we could be. And we could sing just as much as we could. But what we had is we held church in that sanctuary, that youth sanctuary, that social hall deep in the basement of the church where the floor was covered with linoleum and the chairs were metal and folding, and we could be as noisy as we wanted, and it didn't rise up into the sanctuary where the real church was going on. But Miss Stocksdale, she was teaching. She was preaching to us little ones in that church. And every Sunday, we would sing, "This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine." And when we didn't understand, when we thought it was just about a candle or it was just about a little light or something, she said, "It's your pilot light. Deep within you, you have a pilot light that is always ignited, that will never go out. And it's your job to be the demonstration into the world that the light will never go out." Now, that's kind of some profound teaching to be teaching a bunch of 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. But it made an impress on our mind. And here's the other unique thing about that message. She didn't say anything about that light being there for us. She said that light was there so that we can illuminate the way for others. That was the impress that was put upon our mind. And when we had the question of how did that come to be, she would remind us of the only gospel that was ever attributed to the master teacher Yeshua, whom the world came to call Jesus. And as it in Matthew, when he said, "I was hungry and you fed me. I was unclothed and you clothed me. I did not have shelter and you provided me shelter. I was in prison and you visited me." If you know nothing else, this is the master teacher saying, about my ministry, know that, and the kingdom of heaven is yours. So take a look at that for a moment. Many of us was the me generation. Me. And I'm not vocalizing to sing with Takia. The me was even a part of this philosophy in those early days. We were taught to manifest parking spaces and to set our intention that you would never have to worry about finding a parking place in front of your favorite store if you were activating the principles of the science of mind. Many of us got really good at manifesting parking places. We got really good at putting together a vision board with all the things that we wanted to manifest. The house, the car, the relationship, whatever it is. We put it on that board and we made it happen. We took dominion over our life, got out of our victimhood of life happening to us, and took charge. Then we decided we had to find some like-minded people to hang with. So we came to our centers of spiritual living. We came to our communities, and we found our tribe. And we learned that we could do some stuff together to really make a difference in the world. We could feed the hungry. We could run a clothing bank. We could provide shelters and things like Habitat for Humanity and do some stuff to be that demonstration. We created a prison ministry. We did what we were called to do in community. But now we are called to take it to that final level of consciousness where life happens as me. And in that level of consciousness, that calls us into a knowing that's higher than we ever anticipated. That calls us into a knowing of listening to Spirit for what is ours to do, not our ego for what is ours to do. Now, see, our ego really loved this thing about manifestation. Our ego really loved this thing about the easy parking places. The new house, buying a house that couldn't be, buying a house with money that we didn't have by selling a house that couldn't be sold. Okay, our ego loves that. We got to create some stuff. We got to be the demonstration. Look what's going on. And all the time, Spirit is whispering, what about what I'm calling you to do? What about what I'm calling you to be aware of? So here we are, asking for more in 24, and then shaking in our boots when we get it. We are noticing a shift in consciousness in the world around us and wondering what is ours to do. And what happens? We hide. We go inside. We diminish our light. We listen to our doubts and our fears that maybe we're not quite enough to do the thing. Maybe somebody else will do it. I really need to spend some time within. So I'm going to make that call and say, Reverend Angelo, Spirit is really guiding me not to be there today. Could you possibly speak? Now it all sounds very appropriate. But is it really? Now it may be. But now we're called to really ask the question, what does Spirit have in mind for us to do? And is our ego going, no, not that. I want to help people, but not them. I want to be a part of creating this world that works for everyone. So can I bring the paper plates and cups? Or do I have to actually really do something? Do I have to call upon that light within and let my light shine and be the demonstration? Am I willing to do that? I say yes. I say yes. If I have to go out of this world, I want to go out of it with my light shining bright and the flame burning hot. Don't you? Yeah, you don't want to simmer. You don't want to simmer there in your recliner with your remote watching reruns of I Love Lucy and go, it was a good life. I did my best. I did my best. You want to go out doing some stuff. But see, here's the part of the journey. Everything in your life today, up to today, has been preparing you for what it is for you to talk about and to teach and to be the demonstration of. Carl Jung would call it the autumn of our life. Now, if you're not somebody in, say 55 and above, then tell somebody about today's message because it's not about you. I'm speaking to the elders in the room. I'm speaking to the elders that think, did I do what I came here to do? Now, I'm not talking about what your ego is saying that you came here to do. I'm saying you know what I'm talking about. It's what Spirit whispers to you. It's what Spirit is putting on your heart to be the demonstration. You have transcended a hero's journey up until now where you were learning some stuff. You chose to be here in this life to learn and to absorb and to take it all in, to transcend some things, to transform some things, to learn some stuff. What'd you learn? Somebody wants to know. You have been called to show your light, to illuminate the way so it's little easier for them. Does that make sense? Somebody did it for you. Somebody wrote, and I'm going to say this in the most spiritual way, somebody wrote the damn book. It's right there to know what to do. Someone is watching how you transcend the holidays. Okay, you're out there doing it differently. You're following a new faith philosophy and way of living that's not traditional to other folks, and that's okay. And because you were willing to step out there and do it a different way, what's the first thing they're going to say to you about it? Is that really working for you? Yeah. And all you have to do is smile and go, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ernest Holmes says we don't have to convince, cajole, or make anyone else believe that our way is the way. That's not our calling. Our calling is to be the demonstration that our world is working, that we're in joy, that we anticipate and rejoice in what's next. We can't wait to see what 2025 is going to be bringing to us, because we know that whatever it is, we have the tools in our arsenal to do whatever is required, if we believe it. Now, every once in a while, and I'm sure this may be true for many of you, you will hear something that somebody else says that just stops you in your tracks. In fact, it's so profound, you cannot unhear it. And if you're anything like me, I want to go, what is mine to do with that, God? I'm almost weary in how I ask the question. So I hear two ministers on a news program early this morning, and they decided that their mission was to mess up my talk today. They didn't know it, But as I'm sitting there meditating, thinking about this audacious idea of manifesting a world that works for all, somebody has to point something up that I'm going to have to talk about that I don't want to talk about. One minister says, why can we not simply love thy neighbor as ourselves? We've all heard that. We know that the master teacher Yeshua has asked us to even contemplate that and to think about that. That's the commandment. Love thy neighbor as ourselves. The other minister looked right at him and said, oh, my brother, we are. We are loving our neighbor right now just exactly as we love ourselves. And we are projecting our flaws, our doubts, our self-incrimination onto them. We're not here to change them. We're here to work it from the inside out. It's an internal job. We may be called to be the demonstration of how to heal our own stuff. And to tell the story, not what happened to us, but how we transcended what happened to us. The stuff that happened to us is just the stuff that happened to us. The real story is, how did we transcend it? One of the ways that we transcended is to see the joy in what is, no matter the circumstances. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to give you my Christmas example. My Christmas example is that several years ago, I was in my home getting ready for a bunch of folks that were going to come over on Christmas Day for dinner. And I, making sure everything was right. Everything was all as everything should be, but I was checking my list and making sure that the roast was roasting as the roast should, that the potatoes were doing what they were doing, the pearl onions were doing what they, everything was working. And then I realized that I had no creamer for the coffee. And that rocked my little world. Because the cinnamon rolls for breakfast would just not be the same if I had to drink the coffee black. And it's like, it's Christmas Day. 7-Eleven. I think I read once that 7-Elevens never close. Even though the sign means they open at 7 and they close at 11, I think they're always open. So I've got to go out and find some creamer at this 7-Eleven. So I get in the car. I'm living at Tracy in this time in my life. And I make my way through the San Joaquin County fog. Now, if y'all think you get fog in the Bay Area, add some green dye to that. And that's the San Joaquin County fog. So you're driving through this pea soup on the street, getting up there to this alleged 7-Eleven that's, a few blocks ahead. And I don't know whether this makes sense or not, but one of the things we're taught to do when you grow up in Indiana, if you're driving through fog, you lower the window so you can hear. You may not be able to see something, but you might hear something. So it's one of those extrasensory things. And so I do that, and I'm truly driving about 5 miles an hour down this street at like 6:30 in the morning. And I'm kind of going, you are one crazy person. But there must be something out here for you to be aware of. Because time just kind of stopped. And I'm driving along, and all of a sudden, I hear a little child laughing. just giggling like she's having the best moment of her life. And I'm going, what could that be? So I cut my 5 mile an hour down to like 2. And I'm really creeping along because I know out there in this fog is a child. And it's like, I really got to pay attention. And I get to an intersection, and the fog lifts just enough that I see an unhoused man and a grocery cart with a child riding in the cart, and they're making circles in the middle of the street, and they're laughing with such joy that I only hope to ever aspire to in my life. And I thought, that's why I had to come out. Because I needed to know that joy is made manifest no matter what circumstances there. And that person, that man was showing that child an experience that I know that child will remember for the rest of their life. Because it was that laughter that could not be replicated. It was that laughter that came from such a deep place in her heart that she was experiencing the miracle of Christmas right there in the middle of Holly Drive and Grant Light Boulevard. It made me see the world in a different way. It reminded me that stuff happens. Yeah, stuff happens. Maybe you won't see everyone you want to see this holiday. Maybe you won't get that gift that you've been hinting about for the last 6 months, and it doesn't show up. Maybe that's just your nudge to say, you remember, you could manifest that yourself. It really isn't a measure of how much they love you if you get that Krupp's coffee maker. I had to bring it back to coffee. That's just me. But this is this opportunity for us this holiday season to know all we are called to do is to be the light, to be the demonstration that the miracle is right out there if you're willing to claim it. Somebody needs to hear this message today, and I want to encourage you to go home and share the YouTube link with somebody else that needs to hear this. Because, see, here's the other thing that we're called to do as a community. We're called to be the demonstration in ways that we never imagined being the demonstration. And our ego wants to play this trick on us to go, well, if it's not like it used to be, then it really isn't true. That's not true. Somebody at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, alone in their bed, needs to be reminded that their light never goes out, despite the circumstances that they're standing in that moment. That they're unhoused, all they need to do is look around and help somebody else. If they're incarcerated and they're in pain, they need to look around and be there for someone else. If they are hungry, they need to be the demonstration of that miracle that we were all taught about feeding the multitudes, and take that crumb that they have and share it with someone else, knowing that a miracle will come as having done that. You know, as Reverend Angelo comes down and joins me in the pulpit a couple of days ago in our daily reading, there was a wonderful story about the light and the truth of the light. And As I close, I'm asking Reverend Angelo to read that to you, and I want you to be inspired and to hear it in a way. And then, when Reverend Angelo stops speaking, we are going to hear a song from Tukia that I know will take the roof off the place, but it is also a song that plays universally throughout many, many, many centers for spiritual living around the world. And it reminds us that peace is an inside out.
Thank you, Reverend Jack. Happy High Holy Holidays. Merry Christmas. This reading was taken from 365 Days of Richer Living, and it is from December 19th. Having received the light, I pass it on to others. The light of truth is within me, and I release it in every thought and feeling. This light of God has always been in me, yet only lately have I realized what it was. I now know that it is the divine using me as a center of perfect operation. I know that it is the truth which I have sought and now found. I know that it is my highest self and that I am it right here in my present circumstances. God in me at this moment illuminates my whole consciousness, and I am free of all untruth. Alerted to the light, I give this light to others. Every word I speak is a light to others. Every thought I think is a treatment to all whom I know. The light of truth cannot be dimmed. I may not see it some of the time, but it remains within me always, awaiting my recognition. This light is the light of my world. As I look out at my environment, I am looking through the eyes of light. I see all things clearly, easily, and normally. Through my eyes, the light of God flows out, and healing appears everywhere. I see only the good, the true, and the eternal. I see God in every man and love in every heart. Others see this light in me and rise to new heights of accomplishment. They see truth made manifest, the one mind releasing itself. By their sight of God in me, they are healed physically, mentally, and financially. There is a radiance that shines from me, for God's healing light is the true light of my soul. There are no dark corners in my thinking. Memories of the past, actions of the present, and hopes of the future are all exposed to this light and are cleansed. The wrong is erased and the right is amplified. I let my light shine to bless and benefit my neighbor, for it is God's light shining through me. Releasing the light, I am immersed in lights, and true perception is mine. I see God everywhere. I see God in everyone I meet. I see God in the little and the great. Omnipresence is manifested to me. Having received the light, I now pass it on to others.